Hi everyone, this is Jen. I thought I'd do an impromptu Facebook Live today, and I guess they have a bunch of new filters, so I have pretty bubbles, colorful bubbles all around my head. But I wanted to talk today about choking. I have two questions now that I ask everybody who enters into this baby-led weaning group, and the first question is, what do you struggle with most right now with baby-led weaning? And almost everyone says their fear of choking, or they're worried about choking, or they're nervous about choking with baby-led weaning, and they're not sure how to get past that. So I understand that, as mothers, we're always worried about our babies. It's our job to protect them. And we always worry that, we're harming them from before we even knew we were pregnant. Maybe we had a couple drinks or, an unplanned C-section, and we're always worried that we're going to harm them. And when it comes to feeding them solid foods, our ultimate fear is that they're going to choke and they will die. So that is the ultimate fear, right? And every mother's fear for their kid. And I understand that. So I have 3 kids, and I really only had one choking incident, and that was when my son he was a bit older actually. He was about 8 years old, and we were in the food court having Ito for lunch. He had Ito beef, and he stands up and he has this horrible fear in his eyes, and he says, "I'm choking." So at the time I had my baby in my arms, so I put the baby down on the floor in the food court to go around and try and quickly Heimlich maneuver my son. And by the time I got there, he had cleared it. It was down. And looking back, that this probably wasn't a true choking incident because he could speak. And in a true choking incident, they're actually not getting in any air, so they won't be able to speak, and they'll go blue. So I think most of the times we're afraid our baby choked or they're going to choke, and they were actually gagging or they were gagging. And if they're making any noise at all, especially that retching gagging noise, that's actually a good thing. It means they're still getting in air, and it's just part of the learning process. So they're bringing the food back up more to chew. And some babies gag more than others, but by about 8.5, 9 months, that gag reflex has moved back in most babies' tongues, so they won't have such a sensitive gag reflex. So if you have a very gaggy 6 or 7 month old, probably won't be as bad in a couple months. But I've had parents say that even just feeding their baby solids, it almost gave them a heart attack, or their nerves were shot, and your baby picks up on that. So we don't want this feeding solids to be stressful for you. We don't want it to be stressful for your baby. We want it to be fun. So today I wanted to talk about some tips on how you can prevent choking, and maybe if you know a little bit more about choking and how to prevent it, you'll be more confident and calm in feeding your baby. And then at the end, I'm going to share a few ways you can work with me further if you want more baby-led weaning support. So to start with, actually before I get into my tips, I just quickly want to share, I think I've shared this with most of you before, but the research about baby-led weaning, recently there was a new study out, a randomized controlled trial, and the babies, whether they started purees or with finger foods and baby-led weaning, there was no difference in the amount of choking between the 2 groups. So baby-led weaners aren't necessarily at an increased risk for choking, and at some point you have to feed your baby finger foods, even if you're doing purees. So that is a little bit of reassurance maybe. And the number 1 tip for kind of getting over your fear of choking is to take a CPR class. Before my first son started solids, I went to the day-long CPR class, covered everything for infants to adults. Really good information to have. If you can't take out the time to do that, because a full day is a lot of time, I know at least in my city in Calgary, there's a company called Tiny Tots, and Craig will come to your house. He does a 2-hour intensive CPR just focused on infants. So you might be able to find something like that in your city that's shorter, condensed, and just about babies. If you can't find any of that either, at least you can, look online. There are tons of YouTube videos about how to give your baby the Heimlich maneuver, flipping them over and giving them a whack on the back, in the rare case that they actually are choking. And, if you have that information, you'll feel a little more confident in feeding your baby. And for number 2, I wanted to talk about how you feed your baby. So they need to be up, sitting up, rather than, reclined in their high chair when the food can more easily fall to the back of their throat. So they need to Be sitting up, supported, not crawling around or walking around once they're mobile, because obviously that's a choking hazard too. Try and limit distractions so your baby is just focused on the eating. And then of course you always want to watch them while you're eating, because as I mentioned earlier, if they actually are choking, they won't be making any noise. So that's why it's important to sit down, eat with your baby, and keep an eye on them. And then the third thing I wanted to talk about is what you feed your baby in terms of preventing choking and choking hazards. So the first thing here would be texture. So it can help to offer softer foods, because if they do get past the gag reflex, they're much easier to cough up than a hard food. So they're much less likely to cause choking. I know some people like to use a squish test, so you can put the piece of food in your mouth and can you squish it between your tongue and the roof of your mouth? If so, it's really soft and totally safe for a beginner baby. Of course, some foods can't be totally soft like that, so then we look at offering them in a safe shape. And your baby's air tube is quite thin. It's about the width of the pinky fingernail. So I like to slice foods very thinly, so thinner than your baby's fingernail. I like to think in terms of a potato chip, or I think in the UK you call them crisps. So it's long, so your baby still has something to grasp, but it's very thin, so that if your baby does end up swallowing a larger chunk, it's not something that's perfectly round that could block the air tube. And that's why we're supposed to avoid perfectly round foods like grapes, cherries, nuts. Apples are actually the #1 thing that baby-led weaners choke on. So for apples, you can either slice them really thin like the potato chip, you can steam them if you like so they're super soft, or if your baby has a little pincher grasp, it's really easy just to use a cheese grater to grate it into shreds that they can pick up, and those are certainly in small enough pieces that they wouldn't be a choking hazard at all. So if you guys want to post your questions below as you watch this, feel free, or if you have any experience with your baby gagging or choking that you want to share, please feel free to share that with the group too. If you still have lots of questions about baby-led weaning, from when to feed my baby, what to feed them, how to modify my family meals, I do have an online class. Some of you have probably sent emails about this, but it's really cheap, 27 bucks, and provides you everything you need to know about baby-led weaning in an 80-minute video, as well as a bonus video that shows 4 different babies at different ages and stages eating, so you can see the skills they have, see signs of fullness, see some gagging. And if that's not enough and you want to talk to me personally, I do also offer a baby-led weaning support package, and we have a consultation, and then you have access to me for a full month through box or voicemail or email support. So, as things change or questions come up through the month, you can message me at any time and I'll get back to you. And that dietitian support also includes the online class, and it's $527. If you want to know more, feel free to PM me or email me, jen@firststepnutrition.com. And those of you who have health benefits, many of you probably have up to $500 a year per person dietitian support, so you may as well go ahead and use those. So I hope that helps you guys a little bit, gives you a bit more information about choking, and helps you feel a little more relaxed when feeding your baby. Feel free to comment below, and I wanted to thank you guys all for being here. I know it seems to be a really great group, and you guys are responding to each other and answering lots of questions for each other, so thank you for that, and we will see you in the group. Bye.